Welcome back. Pelicans Daily presented by Fan Arch. We're getting right to it because I've had a lot of technical difficulties and I'm at the airport. And though my flight got delayed, my boarding time remains the same. Like, share, subscribe. You know the deal when you're chilling. You know the drill when you're chilling with Dill. Let's get right to it because I want to smash this computer. And I say that with all sincerity. All right. Anyway, appreciate y'all for all the support. You know what I'm saying? I'll get more into certain things, but appreciate it nevertheless. So let's get right to it, though. Phoenix Suns. We wanted the Phoenix Suns' 10th pick. And given that we were aggressive in this draft process, we were aggressive in what we were after, we tried, right? And if we had gotten that 10th pick, in exchange for the 23rd pick that we got from the Pacers and our 2026 first-round pick that we traded for Derek Queen, we might have been able to get Kaman Malak, which would have been awesome. I loved him as a prospect. Arguably, depending on what you're after, if you're looking for a more defensive big, then obviously Kaman Malak was going to be a higher commodity than a guy like than our guy Derek Queen. But the offensive potential, there's room for growth, and there was going to be more that he was going to be able to do, needless to say. But it would have been nice, and it would have been a worthwhile haul, in my opinion. But I think we made the right move. We were able to get 3 players out of this draft when we would have likely only been able to get 2, unless we still made that trade to get the second rounder. But I'm glad we made the move. But it would have been, it definitely would have been interesting. I think Kaman's going to have a great career. He looked great in the summer league. I'm biased as a Duke fan. Yeah, admittedly so. But he averaged about 10, 6, and a block a game. And that's just in a small sample size. So I was very impressed, but he's not a New Orleans Pelicans. So, what could have been, but what is, we got Derek Queen. Derek Queen averaged 14 a game in the summer league. Looked very comfortable handling the ball. Looked very comfortable operating out of the low post. His defense has got to work and get better. But these things are possible. The young man is, 20 years old. He's only going to get better from here. The sky is the ceiling. The sky is the limit. So I'm very excited to see what he does. He's got a lot of potential. All right. Next topic, because, again, man, like I said, I am irate, and I'm keeping it all together. I'm being so professional right now. But I really don't want to. I want to smash this computer. Like, I've really had it. I've reached my wit's end. So this is inspired by David Weimer, who, shout out to him, David Weimer, 8244, a day one supporter. He dropped a really dope comment. I'm gonna reference it later on, but he dropped it. It was a good one in the first part. He said, "What do you feel is a Dumars player? What are the attributes he's looking for in a player, mental and physical? Is he looking to rebuild like the Pistons with defensive dogs? Is he going to go heavy offensive? What direction is he going to move us to over this year and beyond?" Now, to answer your first question, I think he's looking for, physically wise, I think he's looking for guys who are going to be on the taller side, which is where I say Jose might be the odd man out, right? Everyone else on our roster is big for their size, from the guards to the wings to the bigs. So that's one, I think, on that end. Mentally, I think he's looking to have as many junkyard, dog mentality type of guys on the roster as possible. Excuse me, y'all. Obviously, given by that same notion, Jose is that type of player, so that is where he would still be able to make an impact and stick around. But yeah, I think it's a combination of that. And then, is he looking to rebuild like the Pistons? I think so. I think he is very much taking inspiration from those Pistons teams in the mid-2000s, dead ball era. But the mistake that he made back then was not having a definitive go-to scorer. Chauncey and Rip Hamilton were amazing players, Rasheed Wallace as well, but why they struggled in 06, 07, and 08 was that lack of that star go-to player that could go bucket for bucket with the other team's best player. And that's the difference with this team. We got Zion, we got Trey Murphy, we got Jeremiah Fears, we got DeJounte Murray, we got Jordan Poole, right? That's 5 guys that I'm just naming off that. That's not counting some of the other guys who can still come in and be a spark plug. count some of the other guys who can go on and make a real impact. But those guys in particular are going to be go-to scorer type of players. And that's the lesson that he learned from not picking Carmelo or D Wade in the '03 draft and picking Darko, because we can't ever forget that. But what's in the past is in the past. They still won the finals in '04. They still went to the finals in '05 and nearly won back-to-back. So I think very much he's trying to build that type of team for us in New Orleans. And last is, what direction is he going to move us? I think he's trying to build a winning culture from top to bottom. He's trying to build a team aspect, a team environment, and a team where guys are willing to run into a wall for the next man, for the coaches as well. And that's the type of, you want to be on a roster like that. You want to be on a team where they believe like that, they have that kind of love and that kind of support. And if they keep moving forth in the way that I know they're capable of, this is going to be a very talented team. I think it might be a little overzealous to say, but I think within 5 to 6 years, this could be a finals team very easily, assuming everyone stays healthy. And everyone stays healthy and Zion ascends to the level in which I know he's capable of as a, like I said, dark horse MVP candidate this year. Watch out. But that, to me, will be a huge difference maker and a difference impactor. So I think we could easily be a 50-win team. I don't think it's impossible. Realistically, I think we're going to be over a 40-win team, but I think we could easily be a 50-plus win team, bearing injuries and given if our guys play at the high level that they're capable of. So I'm very excited to see what we do, and I think that President Dumars is the exact type of leader into the tomorrow that we were looking for, and also an OG who really knows his stuff. So, yeah. All right, next topic. 2K25. Shout out to them. My guy Andy Quake wrote an article. I know I reference a lot of Chris Lambert stuff. Shout out to my boy Chris Lambert, great guy as well. But talking about our roster and seeing the encouraging signs of our talent given the 2K ratings, which I know people are going to say, come on, bro, 2K, for real. But sometimes 2K can give you a good insight. I just made a Pelicans My Era. I don't have my PS5 with me. It's in storage right now, but when I get back to it, I'm going to get to it. I got Chris Paul, though. I forgot who I had to give up. I didn't have to do too much to get Chris Paul. And I was just like, damn, how the mighty have fallen. But I wanted to, I want to end his career on the right note with him getting a championship with us. But yeah, so to talk about 2K, to just give a minor, right, because it's a good 2K. Look, 2K is a very flawed game. In my opinion, it's not been the same game since like 2K 16 through 18
Ladies and
time.
gentlemen,
But
it is important that you keep a close watch on your baggage
this
and
airport
carry-on items. Do not leave items unattended at any
has
time.
definitely
Do not accept
gotten on
articles
my
from
last
unknown
nerve.
persons
But
to carry
it's
on
all
your
love. I used to live in Charlotte, so I
Maintain
dealt with
control
this
of your
place
carry-on
a lot.
items to prevent introduction
sure
of
did.
dangerous articles without your knowledge.
Anyway,
Do not carry items belonging to
anyway,
others. Note that all
Zion
items are
started the
subject
year
to
at an
search.
88,
Report
and
any
he only ended the
suspicious
year at an
persons
89.
or
But still,
unusual activity
right,
to your nearest law enforcement
he got
officer.
better.
Thank you.
His skill improved. He, you know what I'm saying, 30, even though he only played 30 games, what he did in those 30 games, averaging nearly 25, 7, and 5, again, those numbers don't grow on trees. You're not finding players like that just doing that willy-nilly. And 2 blocks a game as well, 57% shooting. He's got a lot of potential moving forth to easily crack the 90 and up range. And I think Zion, if he puts it all together, could easily be the top-rated player in the game. I don't think that's a crazy take, but I think that he's got that, still has face of the league ability. I feel like he still has franchise player. Obviously, he's a franchise. He's a franchise player. So there's a lot to look forward to with him, and there's a lot to be optimistic about, including as well Trey Murphy III. A lot to be optimistic about him. He had a breakout year in response to the Brandon Ingram trade and Zion being hurt, and he became a go-to scorer for us, averaging 21, 5, and nearly 4 assists. And he went from an 80 overall to an 84. He increases and improves at that level still. Watch him crack the high 80s range. It's not impossible. It's not out the question or out the picture. We're trying to build a contender out west. Them two guys are going to be very important. They're going to be our number one and number two scorers. Jordan Poole, but it just depends because he's a new guy. So as far as like just who's got that claim and stake to it, it's going to be Zion and Trey Murphy. Unfortunately, DeJounte would be like that third person, but his ratings went down from 86 to 84. Now, if there's any player who I believe in who has that dog mentality to come back strong and better, DeJounte Murray. I definitely believe that even though he suffered an Achilles injury, he's still young enough to come back, play at a high level, and as long as he continues to play at the level that he did in Atlanta and San Antonio, then there's not going to be a question on who won that trade, and there's also not going to be a question on what his talent is able to do for us. So expect those numbers to go up. Eve Missy went from a 70 to an 80. Now you want to talk about a ratings increase. Eve went crazy, went up. Why? Because he outperformed what he was projected. He outperformed what he was initially expected to do, and he showed a lot of growth, and he showed a lot of ability. I'm very hyped on Eve. I think he can be the anchor for us that we've been needing for a while. And given that we're trying to build a team like the Pistons, right? So you remember those teams with Ben Wallace, Rasheed Wallace, Tayshaun Prince, Rip Hamilton, Chauncey, right? You need to have that Ben Wallace type of figure. Am I calling Eve the next Ben Wallace? No, but I'm saying that's a guy that he needs to take influence from. Not on the pure offensive end of the ball. No. But in terms as a defender and the level of impact and as a leader, that's the type of stuff I want from Eve. I know that's a tall task, but hey, pressure busts pipes and it also makes diamonds. I got faith in Eve. And to go from a 70 to an 80, that shows, right? And then last but never least, our new acquisition, Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole went from a 79 to an 83. Now, with Jordan Poole, it's never been a question about his talent. It's always been about consistency, his shot selection, and his maturity on and off the court. Now, I'd say all the time, I personally know people who personally know Jordan, say he's a great guy. But people still kind of hold the way that things fizzled and fell out in Golden State against him, which I don't really feel like is fair because Draymond was the initiator and aggressor. Yes, Jordan Poole was talking his talk, but there's no reason why your own teammate should punch you like that. You punch a man like that when he's trying to harm your family. You don't do that with your teammate. You might brothers get into scuffles, but you don't fight your teammate like that. He nearly took his head off. That was personal. You know what I'm saying? So that it could have gotten worse. Years ago I met Kermit Washington, famous for, he was an all-star in his day, but he was famous for nearly destroying Rudy Tomjanovich's face back in the day. So, you know what I'm saying? When you punch like that, oh yeah, you're looking for impact. But I hate how it got pinned on Jordan Poole. You know what I'm saying? But he had a great year last year. He was one of the best three-point shooters in the league, and he showed a lot more poise, a lot more maturity, and a lot more control in his game. And I believe that him coming into a new environment and a more supportive infrastructure and a more talented team, we're going to see more of the same. So expect even bigger and greater results. So I'm very hyped, and 2K is a great way to play out different scenarios. So, if you got a 2K, hey man, play that My Era, play that My GM, and see what you can do in building our roster. I'm doing that right now, so stay tuned. And when 26 comes out, I plan to do the same thing. So, hey, very exciting stuff. Last but not least, all right, let's get to these comments before I got to take this flight. First off, my guy, all-time great. All love to you as always. He said, love the show. If we're a top 4 to 6 seed in the West next season, Trey or Zion will be in the MVP discussions. Let's hope and pray. I love that. That's exactly what I think, too. If we are a top 4 to 6 seed, that is because everything is clicking and executing, and it starts with Zion. And right after, it will start with Trey. So I'm in full agreement with you. I got Zion as a dark horse MVP candidate. That's not too crazy or brazen to say. I don't care what no one says, but, that's my opinion. That's my take. But I think it's possible. I think it's doable. My next comment, Christopher Church 2653. Eve did take guys on the dribble last year. He got to train with Hakeem. That'd be dope. Yes, but he didn't look as confident as he did this past summer league. This summer league, he looked like, this is my bag now. And I think that's the biggest difference, his confidence, which is why he was shooting a lot more, which is good. He's got to just continue to work on his touch, be more efficient, more effective, and he could easily, be at a borderline all-star level within a few years and truly cement himself as an all-star after that. I do believe that Eve will make an all-star at some point. So, yeah. Then back to David Weimer, 8244. What sort of offense should we run based on the players we have? Do we run 4-out high, pick and roll, 5-out, horn sets, playing through the high post, or even pistol actions? How would these sets look like with our starters and with a mix of bench players? I'm going to save this for a video because I really want to talk about this in depth. So, David, I apologize, but also thank you because you gave me a great talking point. So this next video I do, I'm going to talk about that, barring anything crazy happens with us around the league. But I like that question a lot because, yes, I am curious to see our personnel, how it plays out, how we structure things. And then last, Christopher Church, 2653. Reeves only was bright because Boston was hurt for me. I hear that, but I really do feel like Antonio Reeves has a lot of potential and is able to do a lot. But I also understand that we got a lot of guards, we got a lot of chefs, and not always a lot of cooks. And that can be a difficult situation to undergo because you got so much talent and depth. So, yeah. But best of luck to him. I'm literally in the city that picked him up, Charlotte, right? I'm in the op territory, quote unquote. I got love for Charlotte. Charlotte's a beautiful city, amazing place, wonderful people. I would definitely live here, but it ain't like New Orleans. It ain't like the Big Easy. But yeah, I hope Brandon Boston does well. I hope a team truly takes a flyer at him and actually gives him a shot. He's got a lot of talent, and he's going to have a great career. He showed a lot of promise last year, and I think moving forth, some team is going to be able to unlock that potential he showed in high school. So it's unfortunate it wasn't with us, but he showed glimpses. But that's going to be it. I need to get this video done just in the event that there's something crazy goes on. Plus, I got to get back to my gate, which is on the other side. I'm about to be doing the 40-yard dash like Alvin Kamara, whose birthday it was a couple days ago. Shout out to my guy AK41. And also shout out to my brother Deontay Kelly for getting married to his amazing wife, Mrs. Nyla Kelly. Love them both. Was proud to be a groomsman. Your boy was out there, suited and booted, looking fly and fresh as always. Love was in the air, and that's all we're trying to bring to this team and to this channel. So continue to show love, continue to like, share, support. Support is free. Tell a friend, especially if they're a Pelicans fan. If they're not, allow them to fall in love with a new team. So, hey, you came to the right guy. Shout out to Fan Arch as well. They're doing their thing. Y'all continue to have a great rest of your weekend. Have a great week. You'll be seeing me very soon. Back to a location that's more familiar, but things are also going to be changing again soon. So just ride with me on this journey. But much love, peace and blessings, and have a great one. Ciao.